1, 2, 3, 4.
Wanna hear you go.
You invested in the program. The cohort went through it. The feedback scores were good. 6 months later, nothing changed. I hear this every week from CHROs, from L&D directors, from executives who attended the program themselves and are still burning out. So I want to answer the question that nobody in the training industry wants to answer. Why is it not working? And you might ask, what is that all about, right? So let me start by this. I'm Sahar Andrade. I am your AI whisperer. I'm a neuroscience-based leadership consultant, a neuroleadership coach, and the answer lives inside the brain, not the curriculum. Most leadership development programs are built on a premise that sounds reasonable. Teach the teacher or teach the leader better skills. Give them frameworks. Practice under low-stakes conditions. They will transfer the learning to real work. The problem is that premise ignores the nervous system entirely. Totally. It amazes me, honestly, but it is what it is. Your prefrontal cortex handles learning, strategy, creativity, and behavior change. It is also the first thing to go offline when your nervous system is in threat response. High-performing leaders are almost always in chronic low-grade threat response. Tight deadlines, high visibility, constant demands, boards, budgets, and teams all pulling at once. Cortisol, your stress hormone, stays elevated. And here is the part nobody says out loud. You cannot learn your way out of a dysregulated state. And you cannot get your way out of a dysregulated state. It doesn't work that way. The human brain was not created that way. The brain anatomy and physiology was not created for that. So you can sit through 6 hours of excellent content and retain zero, and retain almost nothing, because your brain was never in a state where learning could actually land. So you're set up for failure from the beginning. I had a VP call me after a 2-day offsite retreat. She said it was the best leadership program she had ever attended, and that she remembered almost none of it 3 weeks later. She was not exaggerating. That is what chronic cortisol elevation does to the memory consolidation. The content was excellent. Her nervous system was not ready for it. What does this cost? The program gets blamed. The facilitator gets blamed. Sometimes the leader attending gets blamed. Almost nobody looks at the nervous system state those leaders walked into the room with. Here is what the numbers say. 70% of senior leaders report feeling significantly more stressed than 3 years ago. And now with AI, that number is almost doubling. 92% say they are unprepared to lead change. So imagine if your leaders and executives are not prepared to lead change. What does that do to the people that are executing the change? Remember, as leaders, we are the thermometer of our teams. Whatever we walk in goes to affect our teams. We are not a thermometer, we are a thermostat for our team. Remember, I talked about the vagal response, the research that was on that. So if I'm a regulated leader walking into my team, that's what my team is gonna get. Regulation of the nervous system. If I'm dysregulated, no matter what I try to say, I will dysregulate my team. It's like being a lifeguard that's trying to save someone drowning, but they don't know how to swim. This is what we're doing when we are dysregulating our executives. We cannot give what we don't have. And we cannot pour from an empty cup. Leadership does not fail. Nervous systems do. So, what happens here? Like I said, numbers say this. Again, I'm going to repeat it. 70% of senior leaders report feeling significantly more stressed than 3 years ago. 92% say they are unprepared to lead change. Leader preparedness has dropped from 25% to 13%, almost half in 5 years. Those are not skill deficits. Those are regulated capacity deficits. When a leader is burned out, they sit in your workshop. They take the notes. They write the action items. They go back to the same environment that burned them out. And the environment wins every single time. Because you treated the brain as a learning machine. It is first a survival machine. And a survival machine does not care about your learning objectives. So now imagine trying to implement change for AI integration and AI adoption. Something that you're not even sure you understand. You're not a techie person, but you are a strategic person. And now your brain is running on empty because you're trying to figure out that AI stuff that the board keeps throwing at you. So what you do, you pass it on to the ones under you. But you're not only passing the rules and regulations and AI integration and AI adoption, you are passing your overwhelm. You're passing your anxiety. You're passing your stress. And the teams under you are not going to say anything. They're just going to absorb everything you gave them and nothing will be done. That's why the AI projects are failing at a tremendous high rate. Not because AI is bad, and not because your teams are bad, or are lazy, or they don't know what they're doing, or they're not technical, or they don't have the skills. It's because everybody's nervous system is dysregulated. Leadership does not fail. Nervous system do. And what amazes me is that no one is looking at that. No one is looking to the root of the problem. And I'm going to keep that in every single episode. Go to the root to solve it. In medical school, we used to say, it's something gross, but that's how we remember that. If you have an abscess that has pus, use a knife. Meaning you have to go to surgery to remove all the pus, to close it on clean tissue. You don't give antibiotics because antibiotics will hide the signs and symptoms for a while. And that abscess might be growing to become something fatal. But you don't know that because you're masking the symptoms by giving antibiotics. That's an analogy for you. You have pus, you use a knife. You execute at the root of the problem to solve it. So what actually works? The programs that get traction do one thing differently. They address the nervous system before they address the strategy. Human-centered AI. Human-centered leadership. Not with meditation apps between sessions. Not with a wellness break on day 2. With a structured, evidence-based approach to understanding how each leader's nervous system is currently operating and what it needs before it can lead. This is the gap my work fills. What I call a neuroscience-first approach to leadership development. Neuroleadership. Before any framework lands, the leader needs to understand their own baseline. Are they chronically hyper-aroused? Are they shut down? Are they oscillating between the two depending on the room they walk into? That self-awareness, that self-knowledge changes everything. Because a leader who understands their own nervous system can work with it instead of against it, meaning less resistance to change. And once they can do that, the skills and frameworks you have been trying to install will actually stick this time. This is not a soft add-on to good leadership development. It's the foundation. Without it, your investment will keep doing what it has been doing. Production, good feedback scores, and not much else. That's all you're gonna get. You're just gonna get good feedback scores, nothing else. No implementation, no integration. So if you are a CHRO or an L&D director who is tired of running programs that do not produce lasting change, I wanna talk to you. Not to sell you something, but to help you understand what is actually happening with your leaders before you invest again and again and again. Book a leadership clarity call through the link in the show notes. 30 minutes, no pitch, just clarity. And if you want to know where your organization stands right now, you can also ask me those questions during the clarity call. Real answers. This was your Friday Forbes article-like podcast, the short one of the week. I will see you again in our regular long-form Wednesday podcast. If you want me to explain anything or to tackle any subjects on leadership, neuroscience, or AI, you can email me at sahar@saharconsulting.com, or you can leave me a comment here. Before I go, I want to ask you for some love. Save, share, subscribe. It really helps us and help our viewers and get more people to see what we have. As you can see, we are very unique at what you do. We might be the only podcast that integrates neuroscience, leadership, and AI from someone that studied the human brain that has a medical background. Show me some love. Till we meet again on Wednesday. Peace out.
1,